Natty, we're back.
We're back!
Ah,
Woohoo!
it feels
Welcome
like
to
for
2023.
it feels like for ages, doesn't it?
Yeah, oh well, I can't remember. We had our last episode, I think, second week of December
I
or
think so.
something.
It's got to be like
Yeah.
6 weeks since we've been together here. That's
Oh my
well,
goodness, it's almost like we're back in high school again.
I know. Like
Getting
we could
getting
talk.
getting the summer off.
Let's see. We can talk about all the things we did and our break, and which really the answer was probably just work.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Adult life is a bit less fun.
that is correct. But we are back now. We got lots to talk about tonight. We got some all the stuff. Like December was supposed to be quiet. What happened December? Like so much dropped. It was crazy. Like the week after we said, "Oh yeah, we're finishing for the year. It's going to be quiet now." Like five things dropped, and it was just like,
Yeah. All the rage-inducing stuff as well.
that's it. But yeah, we got some stuff to catch up on. We've got some TFT news. We got some EST. Where'd that come from? ESL Pro
Yes.
League news. Some grassroots stuff for high schools. Rainbow Six. Some sim racing. Game Expo tournaments, and also LCO's back. Already had a week of that, so we've got some stuff to talk about there. But let's just dive straight into it. Let's have a chat about all the drama that went on with TFT. So, if you're a TFT fan, end of last year, December 15th, I think it was, the Riot put out a nice big press release announcing a whole heap of changes that really wasn't very clear, was it, Natty?
It really wasn't clear. For anybody that read the press release about their planned events for Set 8 and how it was going to impact our region, my goodness, that press release, every line was like a pun or a reference to something in the game. And it felt like that was more important than delivering the information. So by the end of it, you read it and you're like, wait, how many slots do we have to the international events? How do we qualify? What's going on? And no word of broadcast. In fact, they were talking about just streaming direct potentially from the players, but not having a broadcast desk, which made a lot of people very unhappy, including myself, because our broadcast for TFT has always been one of the great things that we've got going for it in our region. So, uh,
Yeah.
yes, lots of unhappy people, and it was really fabulous to see like the international TFT community as well responding to our pros to saying what's going on, like this is nuts.
Yeah.
And so many of the internationals was like, this is crazy. What's happening? Have OCE like lost their slots? What is happening?
Yeah. It's quite telling because if you go back to the Teamfight Tactics Oceania Twitter account there, they've had two posts. Um, well, the last two posts, because they haven't posted again since, was one, a link to that details, then on the same day saying, oh, yeah, no, we've still got two spots for set 8 and we're still going to get an official broadcast. It's so cool. It's so cool. It's going to happen, just, oh,
Please don't be mad with
yeah,
us.
just got whiplash from what the hell are you doing? Like, oh, yeah, at least make
Yeah.
sure your message clear before you put something out like that. That was crazy.
Yeah, it was very interesting. I think you both of us watched. There was an episode of Griefed that came out over the holiday break, which is I can't remember her name now. Terrible. A esports a commentator. She's not a commentator, but she comments on what's going on in
Mm,
esports in our region. Briefly spoke about this around one of the many problems with OCE is that broadcast isn't supported. And she was speaking specifically about what happened with the TFT announcement too. Just frustrating, especially for us when we know some of the people that are involved in broadcast and seeing them saying, yep, we haven't been picked up to help. We don't
yeah.
know what's going on, as much as we do.
Yeah, well, that was the other thing as well because like the TFT casters are pretty much doing it off their own back, and the OCE cast is at this point I'm going to say volunteer base because I doubt there's any money involved in it.
Yeah, well, they were one of the groups that was running through order for their production.
Mm,
So
Oh, that's right. And then when
where
order
when
went
order went
under.
under, I think
Yeah.
that was the catalyst for potentially some of the changes that were happening just
Mm.
because they didn't have the official org
Yeah.
to run through. But it sounds like they potentially didn't even get in contact with the people that were doing it to
Mm.
let them know what was going on. It's just very strange.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, got whiplash from how quickly they changed their tune. So at least there will be at some point an official broadcast for it. But no further information has been forthcoming about that just yet. But other than that, there is going to be one. But the one league that's changing a little bit, and I think well, I guess it's probably debatable if it's for the better, is the ESL Pro League. So this CSGO league is changing from a double round robin to more of sort of a double elimination with a last chance bracket thing there. So, look, I guess it comes down to stuff, if you see this as a good thing, is if you want every game to matter. And I think that's been a common complaint around ESL Pro League, because if the games don't matter, then there's no stakes, there's no interest in it. And by making everything double elimination with the last chance, every game matters, because if you lose, you're out. You have to perform every game.
Mm.
Um, but I kind of like, we were chatting before the show, and I compared it to hockey, because there's some stages in the hockey that I play. They the league itself will sometimes have a top four playoff in the finals, or sometimes a top two, depending on how many teams are in the league. And a lot of people prefer playing the top two, because it means that they play more hockey during the season. So if they're not going to make the finals, they get an extra 2 weeks of just playing regular round robin. But at the same point, those are players talking about that, and people that follow the team as well. But I've always found it interesting about esports, where people tend to follow the league or the esport more than the team itself. So they might have a favorite team that they like, but you see it when teams go international as well. All of a sudden, like, everybody that follows that league is supporting that team that's gone over there.
Yeah.
So I think in terms of esports, this is a good thing. I think people will like to see more stakes in their esports, and I think it will end up for better viewing for people.
Yeah, it's always interesting when you have a change of format because you have the immediate negative reaction of there's a change and it's
Yeah.
uncertain and you're not sure how it's going to turn out. But I think I agree. We'll have to see how the season plays out. But it sounds like a good direction to be heading in.
It does, and of course we still got our two confirmed OCE spots as well. So we'll be able to see our local teams go up against the international best at the season 17. I think it is season 17,
Mm,
season
it
18,
is season
17.
17.
Whew, that's a lot of seasons. Um,
Yes.
I tell you what, we were talking about how long it's felt since we've been off. That it's like being being on summer break at school. And one thing that's come up, and that I'm hoping kids will get into, is the Fuse Cup, and they were putting out some more Just Dance stuff. So thankfully they recognise that we're in school holidays here in Australia as well. So the Australian heats don't happen until the 1st of March. But basically, kids can get together and play Just Dance and do really well, and just compete in this. And then there's a global grand final as well, all done through Microsoft Teams, and played on the Switch. So I love this. I love it, all grassroots, because this is how you grow esports.
Yeah, definitely. So the Fuse Cup is fantastic because they've got separated age ranges. So you've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And they've also got a range of games as well. So we saw the Just Dance ones, but depending on the areas, and some schools will also have Super Smash Brothers. They'll also have Rocket League, and some places will have Mario Kart. So it does depend on where. But the other cool thing is this is running in every state. They've got competitions going in every state except for Tasmania.
Oh, poor
Might
Tassie.
need to write a letter about that.
So can't get an AFL team, can't get Fuse Cup. Oh,
Very, very
poor
sad.
Tassie.
Actually, sorry, I'm just double checking this as well. No, no Northern Territory either.
Well, technically, Northern Territory is not a state.
It's true. It is
It,
true.
it, it,
You got
it,
me on a technicality there.
does the ACT have it? That'll be the next question.
They do. The
Oh,
ACT is
dang.
included. So, um, but no, I completely agree with you. Fantastic. They're continuing the Fuse Cup for this year, supporting esports in schools. And I think the best part about this is when they're kicking it off at an early age, it can be a
Mhm.
gentle introduction to parents as
Yeah.
well, of just understanding how esports work, how there's qualifiers, and how they can run locally as well as LAN events and those kinds of things. So, um, yeah, very, very exciting. I just always think that it's really cool when you've got games that, aren't designed to be hyper competitive, where they
Mm.
pull them into a competitive arena. So yeah, Just Dance is fantastic.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm a big fan of grassroots esports because this is where you build interest in it. It's where you generate a lifelong love for sports or for esports because the same thing happens. The reason why traditional sports are so big is everybody does PE, everybody does the range of games of football,
Oh yeah,
basketball,
Oz kick
rugby.
and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and this it's a lot of work. Don't get me wrong, but this is where like I think if esports can find their ways into high schools more, I think this and even primary schools, like primary schools might even be a bit of an easier sell sometimes. But yeah, it does mean that you've got to take time out of the classes to do it, and it does become harder there. But it's the way you build esports, and if you build from the ground up, then you're always going to have people that want to be involved.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. And next on our list of stuff to talk about, we had some Rainbow Six closed qualifiers happening over the 15th and the 16th. We had two OCE teams participating in that. We had the Knights and Team Bliss. So I was getting a little bit excited because I saw, oh yeah, Knights won in round 2 and got through the quarterfinals, and then I realised that the team before that they were playing forfeited. So, well, I
Mm.
mean, a win's a win. We'll take that any
Yeah,
day of the
yeah, yeah,
week.
we still
Yeah.
take it, but yeah, it's a shame, especially when it's at like an event like that. Yeah, the
Mm.
more games, the more experience your team gets at the high level. So,
Well,
yeah, a
that's
bit of a
it.
shame.
Yeah, it is. But they actually played off against the other OCE team, Team Bliss, in the quarterfinals, which Team Bliss won. Unfortunately, Team Bliss went down to the Direwolves in the semi-finals. But I always feel a little bit better when you get knocked out of a competition by the team that goes on to win it.
Oh, yeah,
And
definitely. We
and
lost to the best, so we're in our minds we're second best,
that's
you
it.
know?
And that's what happened there. And we took a round off them, which admittedly Sandbox Gaming, who Direwolves defeated to get into the defeated at the grand final, they didn't take a game off Direwolves.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so there we go. I do like that. So that means that Direwolves have won entry to the Six Invitational 2023 in Montreal, happening on the 7th of Feb. So that was basically part of the APAC qualifier. So there was a North qualifier, which I will tell you. Northampton. Yeah, I think that's how I'm saying that, right? And Fnatic won through to that. And for APAC South, Knights and Fury, but I think. Wait, how does that work? Sorry, I'm confused now. Like it's just like I need to go check if this is the same Knights team because like it's the Australian Knights. It's
No, so there's Knights in the US as well.
no, but they've got the Australian flag next to them. So I need to check that if these teams have the same lineup because that's yeah. It's the same lineup. So Knights won through in the in fact they got first place in so this was at the end of 2022, December 2022 they won, but was still playing in the closed qualifier. I'm curious what would have happened if they had actually won the closed qualifier as well and got a second. Did they get a second spot somehow, or do they like?
Oh, I
I
don't
I
know.
don't. Yeah. No, I'm sure we'll never work it out. But yeah. But
Ah,
either way, the Knights are already there. Maybe that's why they weren't too concerned about beating Team Bliss. They just
ah,
go, oh, we've already got our spot. What are you going to do?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. Maybe they were helping out the other Aussie team.
Mm. Well, no, no, they were playing their hardest, and Team Bliss was the best. Team Bliss was the best on the day because
Yeah,
yeah, they all teams play their hardest all the time.
yeah.
Um, but an exciting new league coming out is the ESL R1 league. It's sim racing, and I'm very excited about this. It looks pretty bloody cool.
Yeah, you know what attracted us both to this when we saw it straight away is the prize pool.
Oh my god, what a prize pool!
500,000 euros for a sim racing competition, which is just absolutely huge. Um, so this is a new partnership between ESL and competition company, and they've got some really big names on board already with teams that are established jumping in, and the action's going to be starting off on the 11th and 12th of Feb at IEM KOS. So. Yeah, it's really exciting. If anybody that's seen the little promo videos that they've been doing, it looks like pretty intense action. Um, and will be really exciting to watch.
So where was that kicking off again, Natty?
I am Katowice. You have to excuse us because every time I look up how to pronounce it, it seems like the internet's telling me a different thing. And in the video, the way the guy says Katowice is very different to how I could possibly say it.
Oh, one day we'll find somebody that lives there and they'll tell us how they say it, and
Yes,
then we'll
yes.
forever know, and then we'll probably forget and go back
Uh,
to having this conversation every time it comes up.
yeah.
um,
But yes, no, it's yeah, super cool. You've got Mercedes sponsored teams in there. You've got Williams sponsored teams in there. So like a lot of the big names are all showing up for this. It's going to
yeah.
be really, really, really a lot of fun.
I do like that the F1 teams are involved as well, so because that says to me that there's going to be some longevity. I wouldn't be surprised if they even use this as driver training as well, because that could be an interesting thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what the transition from virtual racing to like proper racing would be. We need the butler back to. He would be
I
able to
was
tell
just
us some
about
stuff
to
about that.
say, when this season kicks off, we might have to see if we can get our friend Kian to come back. So
Mm.
he's working with is it Murdoch University with their racing
I think
program?
so. Yeah.
He can come and chat to us about his experience because yeah, he did a lot of the iRacing
Mm.
esports racing before
I
jumping onto
think.
doing go-karts
Yeah.
and progressing his racing career.
I
So
Yeah, definitely have to get in touch with him, and he can have a chat and talk us through all the goodness that's going on at ESL R1 kicking off. So it's the season goes from the 12th of Feb to the 8th of May, with a major happening on the 27th and 28th of May. So going to be very exciting to see there. Whew. That's got a lot of competitions happening at the moment, and we're not done there yet because I don't know if you guys have heard, but there's a new gaming expo in Australia, creatively titled the Game Expo. Um,
I love it. I love it. You can't go wrong
well,
with the Game Expo.
and it's funny because we were talking about this before the game, because like it's been a while since we've touched esports. We're pretty rusty at the moment, and we're sitting there. We're going back through all the stories that we link to each other, and we had ESL Pro League, and I'm sitting there going, oh, what game do they play again? Hang on, what's and eventually go, oh yeah, CS:GO. But we had the talk about how it would be a lot easier if the leagues name themselves after the game they played, and even like the acronyms like LPL. I think it's an Australian Valorant league, but it's also an international League of Legends league. So it's just like, I wonder which one they're talking about. I don't know.
Yeah, you have to use all your context cues.
That's it. And I am forever thankful that the Game Expo does what it says on the box. It's an expo about games. And they'll be running some tournaments there.
They are, yeah. So we were super excited. The first thing that came across my feed was the Rocket League tournament that they had announced. So $5,000 prize pool, which is not a bad little bundle of money for a weekend event. But they've also teamed up with Couch Warriors. So for anybody familiar with the Couch Warriors, they do BAM and a few other fighting events, and they're bringing the whole catalogue of games to TGX. So they've got 11 fighting game tournaments running, including 2 for Super Smash Brothers for a single and a double. So
Holy hell, that's a lot of fighting games.
lots of fighting game action. You've got all your major ones there, which is, great that they've got all bases covered. If you're a fighting game fan, they're playing a game.
I must admit, when I first saw it, like, in watching the trailer, I'm going, holy hell, are they playing all these different games in the one tournament? And I'm I'm sitting there going, they're like, they play in one and then switch to another fighting game and then switch to another fighting game. And I'm just sitting there going,
like a decathlon,
yeah,
but just fighting games.
That's it. I'm sitting there going, holy hell, your knowledge of the fighting games would have to be enormous.
Crazy. So just to give people an idea, yep, Super Smash Brothers, Tekken 7, Street Fighter, Guilty Gear Strive, Melty Blood, the King of Fighters, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom, Dragon Ball FighterZ, Samurai Showdown, and Soul Calibur.
Whew. Try saying that 2 times fast. But
there's way too many S's in there. I don't want
to. But good. It's going to be amazing. And the Game Expo itself is shaping up to be a really cool expo. I know there's a few people from the Goa team that are going to be heading along to that. So cannot wait to hear everything about what's going on at the Game Expo, see what's going to be appearing there, and just having a good old time.
Yeah, no, it's looking like it's going to be a lot of fun. I think both of us have expressed a little bit of concern that we're worried it's going to be a PAX Mini, but they seem to be doing a really good job of establishing themselves to be quite different, different focuses for the events, and really a lot of grassroots stuff too, which is nice.
Yeah. That's it, and look, I guess at the end of the day, there's probably nothing wrong with being a PAX Mini, but look, it just kind of sort of came out of nowhere. Like I'm still not even sure who's running it, if I'm being honest. But I'm always a little bit skeptical of when new things start up. And if I was living in Melbourne, I'd definitely go and have a look and see it. But yeah, not this year. When I think I'm already going to have, like, I've penciled in 3 trips to Melbourne this year from Perth, and it's going to be an expensive year for travel.
You know what's so funny? I was just like, yeah, who is running TGX? Go to the website to look up to see who's running it. They've done what a lot of gaming websites do, where they have their name and their handle, but they haven't even got their last names.
Oh.
So we've got Hayden Hades. We know he's had a decade in the video game industry and been involved with esports, and he's a co-founder of Kanga too, which is really cool. But I don't know what his last name is.
Can't go follow him.
Have to go and look up all these people. Have to go look up all these people on LinkedIn later.
Oh, LinkedIn. Is that where people are going with Twitter heading downhill a little bit? Is it?
Oh goodness knows.
Can you imagine that? Like people moving from Twitter to LinkedIn and just posting what they post on Twitter there.
Oh, dude. Are you not on LinkedIn actively?
Not actively, no. I've got an account there, but I haven't and in fact, I've got a page up. When was the last time I updated my stuff in? Oh, okay. It's my last job listed in there is from at least 5 years ago, probably even verging on 6 years. No, closer to 7, because it's still under the old place that my work was called back then. Not under, because it changed its name about 6 or 7 years ago, and I haven't updated it.
Yeah. No, LinkedIn is bustling, lots and lots of really good informational content on there. If you, especially
Ooh.
if you follow, leading experts in your industry, they're all putting a lot of quality educational content out, just as quick videos or discussion points and a bit of a melting pot. It's really an exciting place to be at the moment. And I'm not a salesperson for LinkedIn. I'm just excited by it.
I'll put it on the list, like, because I've started getting into Instagram a little bit more now and learning that, and it's just, my God, Instagram is so much work. It is.
Ah,
It's not just like Twitter. I have a thought. I put it on Twitter and it's out there. Like you got to Instagram because it's all photo based. I got to take a photo. Got to choose the filters. Although I'm starting to develop a go-to filter that I like. So,
yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah, absolutely.
but yeah, it's a lot more work than what Twitter is, if I'm being honest.
Yes.
Um, but do you know what's not a lot of work? And that's watching the LCO. And that
Oh,
started
yes.
back this week. And I've missed it. Like, I must admit, it snuck up on me a bit. And I was sitting there thinking, and I mentioned to you, Natty, that, oh my God, why is it feels so early? Why is it starting so early? And you told me it's not. It's starting the main time it always is. So I've just lost all track of time at this
Oh,
point.
look, I don't think it's had a consistent time because last year it started at this time, but the year before it started in Feb, like late Feb. So, um,
And in fairness, that's the history of the LCO.
yeah, this is true. I just realized that. My goodness.
Uh,
Yeah,
but
don't have to go back too far.
it's exciting to see. I love seeing our local OCE teams back on the Rift there. But there's been some changes. So last year we spoke a lot about the LCO not being a direct entry to our international events anymore. So we have to go through the Pacific something champ PSC. Anyway, we have to go
Yeah,
through there.
more
Uh,
acronyms for us. Yeah.
yeah, that's it. More acronyms. So, and for MSI, PSC, sorry, gets one slot, but for Worlds it gets two. Um, and I think a little bit in response to international events and our performance at international events, the LCO's changed its format. So, to start with, they do a single round robin, best of ones, before moving to a group stage. And so the groups are based off seeding from the round robin. So Group A is the first, third, sixth, and eighth ranked team, and Group B is second, fourth, fifth, and seventh ranked teams. Those teams will play off. I think I couldn't find the information, but I'm pretty sure they're best of threes,
Mm.
which honestly, that's probably what we need more of. We need something other than best of ones, because the LCO format prior to this was regular season best of ones, and then I think it was best of fives for the finals. So you guys, and the LCO season was a long season. Like
Yes.
it
Yeah.
felt long. So having that break and then playing the best of threes. And then I'm pretty sure as well when it gets to finals, because after the group stages, the top two from each group move through to a playoff double elimination bracket. Uh, those are best of fives, I believe, which then
Yeah.
brings that in line to the international events.
It's going to be big days and nights for the broadcast team.
Yeah.
I'm sending them all the energy drinks for the
Well,
new format.
I once again I remember sort of seeing this somewhere, but I'll need to double check. But for um, so we'll have at the moment we got 4 games a night. But I think when they split into groups, they're going to do one group on one night and one group on the other night. So at least then that's spaced out a bit. So you'll have 2 games, but with best of three, you might have six matches. So yeah,
Yeah.
depending on how it goes there. Um, if I'm being honest though, I think it's going to be hard pressed to see the best of threes going the distance in a lot of cases, because seeing some of the results, it's been quite one sided. So like obviously, Chiefs is still the team to beat. Like they may have lost Tally, but they've picked up Biopanther as well there. So and they, after a little bit of Aladoric needing some time out, he's come back in the support role as well. So and they've got some bloody good players on there, and no, I think just adding Biopanther to your top lane in this team is increases the strength of it. So that's going to be fun to see them play this season. Kind of hope they don't have another perfect split. I would like to see them at least
get challenged. Yeah,
get challenged at some point. But I also think at this point that the only team that can challenge them is PGG, and they have been looking on fire in the first couple of games. Direwolves, I think, are probably a bit of a challenge with the three ex-PGG players in Decoy, Praedyth, and Chaz returning as well. So I think they know how to play together well, and I think that there's a lot to be said for knowing how each other plays and working together well. And I think that they're going to elevate Direwolves right there. The other teams, like Ground Zero, I feel like they've picked up some decent players in there, but not to the quality of the others. And same with Kanga. Kanga I don't think they've really held on to their lineup that was impressing me last season. There's a couple of names in there that I recognise, but I'm not 100% sure if they were there. I think losing Lived to where did he go? I think he went to Team Bliss. I think that's a big thing because Lived is a champion player. And then of course you got Mammoth as well, which is I don't know what's going on at Mammoth as well. Like, yeah, it's like they just say, "Yeah, we're here, we're having fun," or "I'm helping" type situation. Sorry, Mammoth, but yeah.
I mean, it's always interesting. I think I'm liking this newer format as well because, the top teams will rise to the top and they get to come back. So we'll be seeing new matchups that we haven't seen that much throughout the main season because I've had the group separation. So for me, that's going to be really interesting once the groups are done and then the final four teams get back together to finish off the season.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely going to be interesting, and I think you'll see the stamina and fortitude of these teams show through, and it's why I think this is still like that. This format is built for Chiefs and PGG. They know how to recover from losses in games and then go on and try and pick up a win, and hopefully, when we're doing that, it'll teach the other teams the same thing. So they'll be able to learn from this as well and make them better teams. So fingers crossed that it does improve things. But look, we do have to talk about peace.
Do we?
Well, if nothing else, then just for the Schadenfreude type aspect of this, but for those that haven't been watching the league this week, Peace forfeited both their games, so handed Kanga and Mammoth both wins, and the reason kind of is that they've gone for a few players from the PSC to increase their chances of maybe getting through there. There are some less charitable reasons that as well that have been floated as to why they're recruiting from overseas like that. But it seems like they didn't have the visas arranged in time. So they didn't have their players ready to go, so they forfeited. And look, if this was one of the previous splits of the LCO, I'd say that's really bad news for them. But in this initial round robin stage, I don't think the round robin matters from the point of view that it's getting you to play games and getting you used to match fitness and that sort of thing. But I honestly don't think it's going to matter until you get into group stages.
Yeah. Yeah, I look, I'm honestly pretty disappointed. I mean, a lot of people can say maybe this isn't unexpected from Peace, considering some of the issues that they've had, which we won't go into because they're all allegedly.
Mm,
But uh, I feel like the LCO has and our region has a hard enough time putting forward a case that we're professional. We look after our players and teams, and we treat the league, you know, as a professional thing, and something like this really, I think, doesn't represent us well.
mm.
Um, and it's very, very disappointing.
It is, and especially with like this is a team that what is it, 18 months ago went to Worlds. You know,
Mm,
it's hard to collate those two things, and not being organised enough to field a team in the first week of your competition. Like it, but yeah, look, it doesn't look good. But like I'm saying, at the end of the day, I don't think in terms of their placement in the LCO, it matters. It probably matters depending on how much they've been scrimming um, to get that match fitness. But at the end of the day, all this is seeding for the group stages, and
yeah, yeah.
they're not going to get knocked
Ultimately,
out.
yeah,
Yeah, and it might be different if there was teams that didn't make it through to the group stages. Um, but yeah, at the end of the day, I don't want to say these games don't matter, but it kind of goes back to what we were talking about with the changes to the ESL Pro League, where the games I don't think are quite as exciting, knowing that until the group stages, it's not really gonna really affect things. And I don't know, because I don't think there's been any information put out about like seedings in the group. So if you're in the group, do you play less? Because it's because I think it's still a double elimination bracket in the group stage. Um, but even then, it's the top two from each group. So yeah, I think there still needs to be some information to be released about how exactly the group stages will work. But
mm,
yeah, it'll be interesting, and like I think it will suit the LCO in preparing for better performances at international events.
yeah, yeah. You mentioned it a few times about the match fitness. Being
Mm.
prepared to be able to go for the best of three, best of fives. I think makes a huge difference to the players, and how they're able to perform over that period.
Mhm.
Um, So yeah, I'm excited. I'm disappointed about Peace, but hopefully they'll be able to pull themselves together. Snowball Esports did a great little piece on all the members in the team and where they're coming from. And I do think that they've got good players there. So it's just a matter of them actually being able to you know get in the game.
Yep, that's it. That's it. Look, we're coming towards the end of our first episode for 2023 here, but there is just something I want to quickly share with everybody. I'm even going to show it for those of you that are watching live on twitch.tv/GameOnOz or watching on our YouTube channel. There's been a Lego City kit for a gaming tournament truck, and like to start with, I was looking at this going, oh yeah, it's all right, it's just that, but it is what it is. And then the more I look at it, the more stereotypes of gamers that they've just crammed into this thing. It is like, oh my god,
I mean,
yeah,
I'm really glad that they didn't create like special Lego gamer players that had were overweight or
yeah.
anything like that. But you've got your e-girl with her pink hair and
I'm pretty
yeah,
sure. I'm pretty sure the boy esports person is Ninja.
oh
What? Because
yes.
well, Ninja without actually paying Ninja rights to use Ninja's image. But yeah, because it's like blue hair and like, yeah, it will draw comparisons there. But even like the commentator down the front looks like typical hype man sort of. Wow, woo, let's go. Yeah. Oh yeah,
Oh,
it's a very interesting thing. I mean, like I like that it's coming out. I like that there's a set for that now. Little bit interesting that they call it a gaming tournament truck instead of like an esports truck or something. I don't know, but yeah, like once again, it's I guess at the end of the day, it's one of those incremental things that the more it becomes mainstream, the more people are going to know about esports, the more people are going to talk about esports. So,
oh yeah, absolutely. I think that that's the point here. Like, I know that nerds and geeks, we tend to be a little bit protective of our hobbies because sometimes when they go into the mainstream, things they change.
mm,
But I think in some aspects, esports is already there, and just this is just kind of like verification that it's definitely on the road. Did you find out how much the kit costs? Is
I
it
didn't. Hang on, let's have a look.
because that
Lego.com.au.
would be the other thing. You can get your gaming tournament truck, but it will be $600, please. We did get this
It's
news from Chris Smith. If anybody's not following him on Twitter, they should be. He's a fount of esports information. Um,
it's 80. Sorry, $70.
oh, I wonder how big it is. I think the box gave me a misrepresented idea of how big that truck was.
I'll just have a look at what. I don't know, like the Lego people generally aren't that
Oh yeah,
big.
so maybe three or two and a half Lego people
Mm,
tall.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm hoping like it all kind of packs away, like the computer desk slide in, and a yeah, so it packs up like a normal truck, so you can drive it to other tournaments, I guess. But but
You
yeah,
can take the
no,
truck on the road.
that's it. That's it. We make fun of it, but like I said, it's yeah, it's something that bringing esports more into the mainstream eye as well. So
Yeah,
glad to
yeah,
see it.
absolutely.
Cool. But that is all the news and results that we have for you. Thank you so much for watching wherever you're watching or listening. If you're listening on one of your podcast platforms, very thankful to have you there. And if you're just listening to us, don't forget to drop us a follow or a like and just let us know how we're going. We'd very much love to hear from you and yeah. I don't know where I was going with that. I've stopped now.
That's fine.
But great to be talking to you again, Natty. Not that we haven't been talking, but like doing the show again. It's
Yeah,
great to get into the swing of things, and can't wait to get back into the weekly show as well next week. So
yeah,
super fun.
definitely.
Um,
A bit less news to catch up on next week,
oh
which will be
yeah,
good.
oh my god, it just felt. Yeah, I'm looking at it going, oh yeah. But we got through it, and we got through it in pretty reasonable time. Not as much ranting, I think. Like I'm not gonna lie, I have had like there's been a couple of times over the break I've seen something come on, and I have had a mini rant to myself. So I feel like I've gotten a few of them out of my system.
Yeah.
Um, and what's the odds? Time heals all wounds. So not as much ranting going on. We've forgotten what we were angry about. Well, I've forgotten what I was angry about sometimes. Um, but once again, thanks for watching, and we'll catch everybody next week.